What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I am recording this the night of August 31st, so tomorrow, and when a lot of you guys watch this, is going to be September 1st. Crazy how fast the year is going by. So I figured I would do a top 5 One Piece booster boxes to invest in right now for September 2025. We're going to start off the list with OP05 Awakening of the New Era. After the restock that we had a couple months ago, you really did have a solid opportunity to get this box for about $220, $230. I don't think this box is ever going to be sub $200 again unless we get a massive reprint, and I just don't see that happening with how much Bandai has to do right now. But the box is already back into the mid 250s, getting close to 260. You can see here a recent sale from today, 2 boxes sold at $300 USD. I said that this box on TCG Player is going to be $300 plus by the end of 2025. It's still a very solid set when we look at this. It might even be the most top-heavy set we have in all of One Piece still, because you have this Luffy $2,800 approximately, and then with the alternate art Luffy jumping up to like $1,500, $1,600. I know TCG Player still says $1,450. I think for all intents and purposes this is closer to $1,600 at this point. That's very top-heavy. Some solid chase cards there, and then you have a Law manga, you have a Kid manga, you have Nami, Yamato, some decent cards. So 05, and again, this list isn't in any particular order, so I'm not saying that 05 is the worst out of these recommendations or the best out of it. We're just going to give you guys some options, and then you can go with whatever you have access to at a decent price and what you think fits your budget. So next up, we have EB02, the extra booster. I'm a huge fan of this set. I have a couple cases of this. This box is already back up to around $185 on TCG Player, and we've actually seen sales. You can't see it from these recent 5, but I believe there was a sale today or yesterday at $200 USD. We've noted a couple $200 sales on eBay as well when doing the market updates. So EB02, I think it's going to continue climbing. Again, Bandai hasn't liked to reprint their extra boosters or their premium boosters. That's also why I'm a lot higher on this box than maybe I would be if it was a mainline set, but there still is a ton of depth in here. The Luffy, not like the most expensive chase card we have in One Piece, but still holding around $1,000. You have the Boa Hancock up there. The Vegapunk is still a very expensive card. It's the Error version. Then you have the Alt Art Luffy, Yamato, Jewelry Bond. You have all those other cards. So big fan of EBO2, and I think even around $180, $185, when we look back at this in about a year from now, maybe a little bit earlier than that, that's going to be a solid price. And again, I've caught so much flack when I do these One Piece updates for recommending the better sets. Like, I'm a huge fan of that. A lot of people say, you should just buy 2 Legends, Royal Blood, and you're going to make decent gains on those sets. But when we look at One Piece over the past month or so, the sets that have really popped off, you're going to be your Blue Bottoms, OPL5's rebounding very fast, 09's rebounded very fast, PRBO1, massive gains. So if you have the money and you're in this for the long haul, I would recommend putting most of your money towards the better sets in One Piece. Now moving on, OP09, Emperors in the New World, I already referenced this. We're already back to an all-time high on this box, sitting around $198 on TCG Player. I think it's only a matter of time before we push into the 200s and then go even higher than that, because reality is this is a better set when we look at this objectively. It's a way better set than something like OP05. I know some people like the Luffy better than Roger, whatever, but I think the supporting cast is there in 09 to justify this being like a $300 plus booster box at some point. I know it's still a newer set. It hasn't even been out a year yet, but in the future, it'll definitely get there. You have the 5 manga cards, the Roger, the Luffy, the Shanks, the Blackbeard, and then Buggy. And then you also have the Nami SP, the Boa Hancock SP, the Wanted posters. Super deep set. Really don't have to say much more than that. I would be buying this box if you don't have some. I already have a couple cases, and that's why I've kind of held off buying more, just because I do want to diversify into some other products. I bought a little bit more OP11 recently, and then also I'm trying to buy a lot of Pokemon as well at the time. So if I had infinite funds, I probably would be buying more of this set right now, and I'd probably buy it all the way up to like $250, $260, honestly, USD. But again, I'm like you guys, I have a budget. I need to stick to my budget, and I can only put so many dollars into One Piece. But I'm a very big fan of 09. That's why I have a very large position in it compared to a lot of the other sets. Now, fourth up, we have OP11. Again, we already referenced this. I did just buy another case of it. I really love this product. Right now, $131. I think this box is going to be more expensive in the future, especially considering the cards inside with the gold and silver Luffys, the manga Luffy, These, you know, SP cards aren't the best. Luffy, Shanks, Sanji, these are still pretty solid characters, Shirahoshi, but the top 5 to 6 cards in this set definitely don't compare with something like '09. They probably don't even compare with '05 or EB02. So I still think 11 is a solid set. It is a mainline set, so there has been reprints, restocks. There's probably going to be more coming. It's a very new set, but I think this box, when we look back at this in a couple of years, it's going to be worth more than $132 USD. And then the final set I wanted to talk about this week is OP13 carrying on his will. Obviously, if you go to TCG Player, the pre-order prices are very high, sitting around $200 USD. You can find this box on pre-order, still a lot cheaper than this. I think the lowest I've seen in the past week is like 210 Canadian. So I don't know, that would come out to like 160, 170 USD, something along those lines. On eBay, that's the cheapest I've seen. You might be able to get it cheaper at your local LGS, or if you guys are in Europe, I'm sure you have access to probably better prices than what we're paying out here in the West. But this is going to be a very good set. I mean, we've already covered some of the Japanese red mangas selling. I mean, the Luffy was like, what, $2,000 raw? Then the Ace was $3,000 or $4,000. Same thing with the Sabo. They were in that range. So I wouldn't be surprised if a PSA 10 Luffy in English is going to go for like $4,000 or $5,000 out the gate. The Ace and Sabo, since the PSA 10s in Japanese are in that 2-3 range, maybe those are like 4,000-ish in English out the gate. That's going to be a very expensive set. And I understand that those prices will come down over time, but just compared to anything that we have out right now, that already would be enough to rival some of the better sets like '09, '05, PRB 01. And those are just a couple of the cards. Outside the mangas, you still have the Shanks in there, the gold and silver ones. And then we have some decent wanted posters. And then I can't remember the names of these guys, but everyone's a big fan of these cards here. And I'm pretty sure they come in a God pack as well. Correct me if I'm wrong about that. But either way, OP13, it's going to be a super stacked set. You would have to be brainless to not want to get some level of exposure to this. Again, I always recommend English. Don't go for the Japanese. If you have to pay up, it kind of is what it is. I think a lot of people had to pay up on '09, and that's going to pay off in the long run. I think it's going to be the same deal with OP13. Now, if you guys can't find a decent pre-order price, I would probably just recommend waiting for the set to release. If you look at '09, right, so a few months after release, if we bring up the booster box here, go to the 6-month chart, it climbed all the way up. We were about $200, and then we got that restock, and it was down to around 170. So I think there will be opportunities to buy OP13 in the future. A lot of game stores right now are just moving their prices up, which makes sense. I mean, there's a ton of hype around the set, but it also is a fairly new set. And again, if it's anything like Pokemon, Bandai is going to have their sets in print runs in rotation for a couple years, and you're going to have opportunities. So don't FOMO into anything, especially not at ridiculous prices. Like I wouldn't be paying $300 USD for a booster box out the gate. That would just be ridiculous. And then a couple other honorary mentions, which if you watch all the videos, we've already talked about a lot. Blue Bottom Romance Dawn boxes, these are up to like $2,500. We saw a sale for $3,000 on eBay the other day. And then also Memorial Collection, if I bring this up here, again, like I've recommended this box to some people that are building very large positions in One Piece, and this just being a very small percentage of their portfolio. You can see here, most recent sales, $380. You had some at $330 here, but $380, $352, $353, and then also $310. So a lot of the sales now are pushing into the mid 300-ish range. There are obviously some lower ones, but I think this box, although it's not one of the better sets in One Piece, it is probably one of the scarcer boxes. And I think for that reason, if you are building a very large position, might be worth still picking up one of these. I really wouldn't be surprised if one day these just magically pop up to like $450, $500. Again, not saying that will happen, but just because there aren't as many of these out there compared to other sets, it really could happen overnight. So that was going to be it for the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. Also, I did want to jump in here and say thank you. The main channel hit 10,000 subscribers. I know a lot of you guys don't watch the main channel, but I know some of you do watch both. So again, I just wanted to say thank you for that. And then also, I did mention it over there, I am planning to invest into a microphone upgrade. So hopefully by the middle of September, the audio on these videos is going to sound a little bit crisper and better. And then hopefully I'll be able to eventually get into doing some live streams and just different sort of thing like that. So if that's something that excites you, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. Again, we're just getting started, a lot more to come. Also, if you guys are in North America, enjoy your Labor Day long weekend tomorrow. Stay safe wherever you guys are in the world, and I'll catch you in the next one.